Good morning, Steve Sarkisian. How are you?
I'm great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Did you have to listen to that, Sark, me telling about my old
The whole
days?
story.
Hey,
Al Bundy over here.
Anytime you tell a story, man, we're all ears. Buddy.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know that.
yeah.
How was your vacation, Sark? Thanks for joining us. I want all of you out there listening across the country on Powered by Fox Sports Radio on DirecTV, Channel 239, everyone watching on the NFL mobile app. This is Sark's first thing when he comes back from vacation. We appreciate your dedication to the program.
You know, I didn't do a whole lot, quite honestly, Susie. It's hard to leave Southern California, first of all, as you guys well know. And two, this thing with college football right now and with our players and recruiting's finally done. You're on the road for a month. You're not around your current players, and then you finally get done. I wanted to be around our guys, so I went to a couple 6 a.m. team runs and watched our guys work out. Did some things with those guys. So for the most part, it was relaxing, but I didn't get on a plane and go anywhere.
Before we talk about your guys currently, give us a little heads up on Leonard Williams. Tell everybody what they don't know about Leonard Williams. Certainly, he's been the talk of the combine. Everybody talking about him in that number 2 spot, already thinking Tampa's going with a quarterback. What can you tell us about that big fella?
You know, the biggest thing for me, Rick, about Leonard Williams is this. He loves football. The guy loves football. Now, he's an unbelievable athlete. Everybody knows 6'5" and change, 300 pounds, 4'9", 40, all that kind of stuff. But everybody knew that going into the season. What I appreciated about Leonard, he had kind of tweaked his shoulder in training camp, never skipped a beat. He really rolled his ankle bad on a Wednesday getting ready to play at Stanford. Didn't practice Thursday, didn't practice Friday. Tapes it up. I mean, could have easily said, you know what, Coach, I can't go this Saturday. My NFL future's on the line. That guy went out, I think, had 12 tackles against Stanford, had an amazing game. He's just a football player, and that's what I love about him. He's got a carefree attitude. He loves to work. It's not about the fluff. The guy doesn't even have his driver's license yet. You know, he rides a skateboard around campus, so he's kind of a throwback that way. I love being around the guy every single day. He's got a great smile. He's a great teammate. His teammates love him. And quite honestly, I think it was probably a little harder decision than people thought for him to leave because he really enjoyed the college experience. He enjoyed his teammates. He enjoyed USC. And ultimately, I think that's what's going to make him a good pro, too. He just loves the game of football.
Yeah, he said that he came into college wanting it to be over, and then actually now that he sees it wrapping up, he wants it to extend. What were the conversations like with him when you're sitting with this kid, a 3-year starter, leaving after his junior year? What are the conversations like when he's debating, should I go or should I stay?
Well, the biggest thing, Susie, whether it's Leonard or a Nelson Aguilar or a Buck Allen or a Cody Kessler or a Max Turek, I mean, some guys left, some guys stayed, is really trying to get them to make an educated decision and not emotional decisions. So really putting the facts and the information in front of them, the pros, the cons of leaving, the pros and cons of staying, what are the benefits of it and all those things. And all of our guys, to their credit, I think did their due diligence. You didn't see any of our guys come in the locker room after the bowl game and declare they were leaving for the draft. They all took their time. We really tried to supply them the best information, and ultimately they made a decision in their minds was educated and what was best for them and their families. And I can't disagree with them at that point. But I really just try to be a facilitator of information, and Leonard was no different. And it was hard on Leonard. It was probably harder than you think. If it was just sheer emotion, he probably would have stayed, quite honestly, if it was just emotional. But the right decision for him was to go, and he did it, and he's going to reap the benefits of it. He's a great player.
Sark, one guy back in Indianapolis who's going to have, as they say, some splaining to do is Josh Shaw. Now, he won back the trust with you. How will he win back the trust with all these NFL executives?
Well, I think one of the best ways is to go do what he's doing. I think he benched 225 20-something times. I think he ran in the 4.4s here earlier this morning. So NFL execs, I think sometimes, their memory gets short as the better the guy tests. So that's been helping them, one. But two, I think the NFL is going to lean on us. I mean, they're going to come to me. They're going to come to Justin Wilcox, our defensive coordinator. They'll go back to Lane. They'll go back to Clancy Pendergast. They'll go to those guys. They'll go back to Ed Ogeron and ask him about Josh Shaw. For me, Rick, and we've talked about this, you and I, that kids are going to make some mistakes. I mean, that stuff's going to happen. When you start dealing with 17 to 23-year-old males, we're going to make some mistakes. That's the reality of life. My challenge is every time you make a mistake is that Was it a mistake, or is that the character of the young man? And I think Josh's mistake that he made, as big as it was, as grand as it was, as much as made out of it, I think it was totally out of character. I think Josh Shaw is a good person. I think he made a mistake. He tried to fix it. It got worse. But at the end of the day, I think he's a good person. He's got great work ethic. He's a good teammate, and he's a good football player. And I think whoever takes him in the NFL is going to be lucky to have him.
Steve Sarkisian, the head coach of USC, joins us on the Rich Eisen Show. I'm Susie Schuster, in for Rich Eisen, along with Coach Rick Neuheisel. You talk about that question of character, and we talked about that, Coach Rick Neuheisel, earlier with Jameis Winston, with Josh Shaw, with these guys. When you have that 15 minutes in the room to get to know these guys and to learn about some of their indiscretions. And, Coach, I'm wondering, Sark, how do you rebuild trust like that, though? And for guys that are out there who are going to spend money on these players and use a pick, how do you expect a kid to rebuild trust?
Well, Susie, I don't know if they're hanging their hat on 15 minutes either. These guys are doing their due diligence. They're following these guys on social media for years now. These guys all have social media departments that are just following potential draft picks. So they're digging deep into the character aspect of it, just like we have to do on the recruiting side now. As much as I don't care for the social media aspect in recruiting, it does provide a great tool to dig into the character of the young men that we're looking at. And for us, as great of a recruiting class we signed, I probably didn't sign 2 or 3 kids that I thought had questionable character because of what I was seeing on social media. So I don't know if it's building back the trust. I think it's getting back to the foundation that they've laid. And a guy like Josh Shaw, like I said, I think he laid a really good foundation for the type of kid he is, the character that he has. He made a really bad mistake. It's him just getting back to being himself and not getting caught up in the, I have to go prove myself right because of the mistake I made. It's just go be yourself. Go back and be yourself. And over time, the real you, the real character of you is going to come out, and people appreciate who you are.
Sark, Trojan fans are excited as they can be. Sanctions are finally behind them. 2015 looks like a banner year. You got Cody Kessler coming back. You just signed, by all accounts, a number 1, 2, or 3 recruiting class in the country. Give everybody an idea what to look forward to as the Trojans get unveiled for 2015.
Well, I think we've got an exciting football team, Rick. I think that we're really good up front on both sides of the ball, which on any football level is the key. We're returning every starting offensive lineman, whether they were injured last year or not, return every starter offensive lineman. We lost a couple guys up front defensively, obviously most notably Leonard Williams, J.R. Tavai, Hayes Pollard. But we really got a veteran group up front on the defensive line and some guys that were juniors that are now going to be seniors that I think are really taking the next step. Claude Pallone, Delvon Simmons, Antoine Woods, those types of guys, Scott Felix. But for me, what I like is the athleticism of the team, too. I think we've got some dynamic young players that can really go make plays and create big plays, whether it's on offense or defense. The key for us is how do we take all this youthful energy and excitement and talent that we have and really develop a football team in a short amount of time so that we can play really good football week in and week out. That's our challenge, because I know we're going to have an exciting team. I know we're going to play good football. I just don't want to stub our toe anymore. And we stubbed our toe a couple times last year. We didn't play our best football, most notably against UCLA. We just didn't play a very good football game. We didn't play to our capability. And so that's the challenge for us. But anytime you have a fifth-year senior starting quarterback like we have in Cody Kessler to engineer this thing, and you have the talent surrounding him, it's exciting. And Trojan fans should be excited. Our challenge here over the next few months is bringing that talent together, the influx of these incoming freshmen, incorporating them into the schemes here come August in training camp, and then ultimately putting our best foot forward every Saturday when we take the field.
Oh, we've got confidence you're the right guy to get it going again. Thank you so much for joining us, Steve Sarkisian from USC.
All righty, guys. Thank you.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.